What if marriage doesn't begin with a ring, a ceremony, or another person, but with a feeling? What if the moment you feel married, life has no choice but to arrange the marriage for you? Today you will learn how to shift from waiting for marriage to living from it. Marriage is not an event waiting somewhere in the future. Marriage is a state of being. Most people think marriage arrives first and the feeling comes later. That belief keeps them stuck, hoping, wishing, waiting, but the truth is simple and powerful. Life responds not to what you want, but to what you are. When you feel married inwardly, you begin to live married outwardly, and marriage must eventually appear as a physical fact. You are not here to chase marriage. You are here to embody it. The outer world is only a mirror. It reflects the identity you accept as true. If you identify as someone waiting to be married, life will continue giving you reasons to wait. If you identify as someone who is married, life reorganizes itself to match that assumption. Marriage is not attracted through effort. Marriage is revealed through alignment. Feeling married does not mean pretending or forcing emotions. It means settling into a quiet inner knowing that marriage is already yours. Just like you don't constantly affirm your name or question whether the ground exists beneath your feet, the married state feels natural, calm, and normal. There is no desperation in it. There is no rush. There is peace. When you feel married, you stop asking, when will it happen? You stop scanning faces, messages, and timelines for signs. You stop measuring time. Instead, you move through life with a subtle confidence. You think differently. You react differently. You choose differently. You no longer feel incomplete, because marriage is no longer a missing piece. It is an internal reality. Living married means allowing this inner state to influence your daily behavior. You begin to respect yourself differently. You no longer tolerate situations that contradict the life of marriage you are living within. You speak with more clarity. You walk with more stability. Your energy becomes grounded. People can feel it. Life can feel it. You don't live married by announcing it to the world. You live married by how you treat yourself when no one is watching, by the way you plan your future, by the standards you hold, by the calm you maintain when things seem quiet. A married state is not anxious. A married state does not beg. A married state trusts. Most people sabotage marriage because they are internally single, even while trying to manifest partnership. They rehearse loneliness. They imagine disappointment. They emotionally prepare for absence. And life faithfully delivers exactly that. The mind is always practicing something. The question is, what are you practicing right now? To feel married, you must mentally occupy the end. Not the struggle, not the journey, not the waiting, but the fulfillment. This means letting your imagination rest in scenes that imply marriage is already done. Not dramatic scenes, simple ones, natural ones. A sense of shared life, stability, belonging, ease. These imaginal acts plant seeds and feeling waters them. The feeling is the secret. Words without feeling are empty. Visuals without feeling are weak. But when you feel married, when the emotion of security, companionship, and certainty fills you, that feeling becomes a command to life itself. Life does not argue with feeling. It obeys it. Living married also means releasing the identity of almost, not yet, and someday. Those identities are subtle but powerful. They keep marriage at a distance. Decide now who you are, not later, not after proof. Identity always comes first. Evidence follows. When doubts arise, and they will, do not fight them. Fighting creates resistance. Instead, gently return to the feeling. Remind yourself not with force, but with calm certainty. This is who I am now. Doubts are not signs of failure. They are echoes of an old self losing relevance. Receiving marriage is not about timing. It is about consistency. The outer world rearranges itself gradually, often invisibly. People appear. Conversations happen. Opportunities align. But this movement happens naturally, without strain. When you are internally married, you don't chase outcomes. Outcomes chase alignment. Many people ask, what if I don't feel it all the time? You don't need to. You don't feel your identity every second either. You simply return to it. Feeling married is not about intensity. It is about acceptance. Acceptance that this is your reality now, even before the world confirms it. Let go of comparison. Let go of timelines. Let go of stories that say marriage is difficult, rare, or delayed. Those are borrowed beliefs. They are not laws. The only law that matters is the one operating within you. Change the inner law, and the outer rules must adjust. Marriage does not come to complete you. It comes to match you. When you feel whole, chosen, and secure within yourself, you naturally align with a marriage that reflects that wholeness. You are not asking life to fix loneliness. You are allowing life to mirror fulfillment. Living married also means gratitude in advance, not loud gratitude. Quiet gratitude, a gentle appreciation that the desire is already answered. Gratitude is the emotional signature of fulfillment. It tells life, this is done, and life responds accordingly. You don't need signs. You don't need reassurance. Those needs come from uncertainty, and uncertainty does not belong to the married state. The married state is calm even in silence, confident even in delay, certain even without confirmation. When you feel married, rejection no longer wounds you, delays no longer discourage you, silence no longer shakes you, because you are no longer interpreting events from lack. You are interpreting them from fulfillment, and fulfillment is unshakable. Receiving marriage is the natural consequence of sustaining this inner position. Just as night follows day, manifestation follows assumption, not immediately, not always visibly, but inevitably. Life has no option but to agree with your dominant state. So stop rehearsing the story of waiting. Stop identifying with longing. Stop living as someone preparing for marriage someday. Preparation implies absence. Occupation implies presence. Occupy the state now. Tonight as you rest, do not ask life for marriage. Instead, thank life for it. Feel the calm satisfaction of being chosen, the quiet joy of belonging, the stability of partnership. Let that feeling lull you into sleep. Sleep is when the mind is most receptive. And tomorrow, live your day from that place. Speak from it, decide from it, walk from it, not trying to convince anyone, just being. Because when you feel married, you live married. And when you live married, you cannot help but receive marriage. This is not hope. This is law. Marriage always begins as an inner decision long before it becomes a visible experience. The moment a person accepts marriage as part of their identity, their inner world reorganizes itself around that truth. Thoughts stop revolving around loneliness and start reflecting stability. Emotions soften because the nervous system no longer feels like it is waiting for completion. This internal shift is subtle, but it is powerful because life responds to identity faster than it responds to desire. When you see yourself as married inwardly, you no longer ask whether it will happen. You move as if it already has. This does not create tension or false excitement. It creates calm. That calm is the signature of certainty. From this state, actions become effortless, and expectations become quiet. You are no longer trying to become someone worthy of marriage. You are simply expressing who you already believe you are. And life, being a mirror, has no choice but to reflect that belief back to you in form. When the feeling of being married becomes real inside, behavior changes naturally without force. You don't need rules or discipline to act differently. Alignment does the work for you. Choices begin to reflect self-respect. Boundaries feel easier to hold. You stop entertaining situations that contradict the life you feel connected to. Even your tone, posture, and presence subtly shift, because inner certainty creates outer steadiness. People around you sense this change, even if they cannot explain it. Opportunities begin to appear that match this energy, not because you chased them, but because you are resonating with them. This is how alignment works. It draws without effort. Feeling married is not about imagining perfection. It is about embodying security. And security always reorganizes circumstances. When your inner state is stable, life stops testing you with instability. What once felt uncertain begins to feel orderly. This is how inner feeling quietly becomes outer experience. Living married means you no longer operate from emotional hunger or lack. You are not looking for someone to fill a void, fix a wound, or rescue you from emptiness. Instead, you move from fullness, which changes everything. Interactions feel lighter. Expectations feel cleaner. You don't cling, rush, or overthink, because desperation is no longer your fuel. Fulfillment is. When you live from fulfillment, patience becomes natural, not forced. Silence no longer feels threatening, and time no longer feels like an enemy. You trust the unfolding because you are no longer measuring your worth against outcomes. This inner fullness is what creates magnetic presence. Life responds differently to someone who is complete within themselves. Situations that once repeated begin to dissolve. Old patterns lose their grip. Living married is not about performing a role. It is about resting in a state. And from that rested state, life delivers effortlessly. Certainty carries more creative power than struggle ever could. Effort often comes from fear. Fear that something may not happen. Fear that time is running out. Fear of loss. Certainty dissolves that fear. When you are certain inwardly, you stop trying to control how or when marriage will appear. You stop forcing conversations, outcomes, or timelines. This surrender is not weakness, it is alignment. Life responds fastest when resistance disappears. Certainty feels quiet, grounded, and unwavering. It does not demand proof. It does not seek validation. It simply knows. And that knowing sends a clear signal to life. When the signal is clear, the response is inevitable. You don't need to convince the world when you are convinced within yourself. The calmer you become about marriage, the faster life arranges it. This is the paradox. Letting go of urgency invites fulfillment. Certainty removes obstacles that effort accidentally creates. Your inner state is always giving instructions to life, whether you are aware of it or not. Every repeated emotion, assumption, and belief becomes a command. When your dominant state is waiting, life sends more waiting. When your dominant state is fulfillment, life sends confirmation. The outer world does not decide for you, it responds to you. This is why changing circumstances, without changing inner assumptions, rarely works. The same patterns return in different forms, but when the inner command changes, the outer response must change as well. Feeling married is a powerful instruction because it implies completion. Completion closes loops. It ends cycles. Life cannot keep offering unfinished experiences to someone who internally lives in fulfillment. Over time, reality adjusts, not dramatically, but precisely. New paths open. Old doors close without resistance. Everything moves to support the state you consistently occupy. This is not wishful thinking. It is alignment in action. Consistency is what stabilizes the inner state and makes it dominant. You do not need to feel married every moment of the day. You simply need to return to it often enough that it becomes familiar. Familiar states become identities. Identities become realities. Doubt may arise, especially if the old identity was practiced for years. But doubt is not failure. It is transition. Each time you gently return to the feeling of marriage, instead of arguing with doubt, you weaken the old pattern. Over time, the new state becomes automatic. You no longer remind yourself. You simply live from it. Consistency is not about intensity or obsession. It is about loyalty to the new self. When the inner state stabilizes, the outer world follows with less delay. Life responds to what is habitual, not what is occasional. Make the married state your emotional home, and life will furnish it accordingly. When marriage becomes your present inner reality, receiving it externally becomes a natural outcome, not a struggle. You are no longer trying to get something. You are allowing something to arrive. This shift from pursuit to reception is powerful. Receiving requires openness, trust, and relaxation. You cannot receive while tense. You cannot receive while doubting. When you live as if marriage is already part of your life story, you remove resistance to its arrival. You stop blocking it with fear, overthinking, and control. The mind relaxes and life flows. People often miss opportunities because they are too focused on forcing results. But when you are receptive, you recognize alignment instantly. The right moments feel natural. The right connections feel easy. Receiving is not passive. It is aligned readiness. And readiness always invites fulfillment. Gratitude anchors the feeling of fulfillment, deeper into the subconscious. When you feel grateful in advance, you are emotionally acknowledging completion. Gratitude shifts focus from absence to presence. It trains the mind to rest in satisfaction rather than longing. This emotional posture tells life that nothing is missing, and life, responding faithfully, removes the sense of lack by filling it. Gratitude does not need to be loud or dramatic. Quiet appreciation is enough. A soft sense of this is already handled carries immense power. From gratitude, patience grows naturally. Anxiety dissolves. Trust becomes stable. Gratitude is not pretending. It is accepting. When acceptance replaces longing, manifestation accelerates. You are no longer asking life to give. You are allowing life to confirm, and confirmation always follows acceptance.